Whenever I think about Bonnyville, I think of a time when I was sneaking out.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Sneaking out to meet boys in Farmers Field.
No, you were not.
It's bad. Like, because that's the only place you can go on dates.
Why did everyone else get to have fun in a small town but me?
Local queerness. Also, shout out to
He was in my class.
My name is Ash Thompson.
My name is Harper Hugo.
My name is Brent.
Yes, my name is Michael Fair.
Mabuhay! My name is Melinda Verga.
We are Drag Out the Love, and you're watching Queer in Alberta.
Mwah.
Welcome back to Queer in Alberta, the podcast where I chat with 2S LGBTQIA+ Albertans from all across the province. Queer in Alberta is filmed on Treaty 7 territory here in the city of Lethbridge, Alberta, home of the Blackfoot Confederacy, as well as the Oti-Pimsawak Métis government in the Alberta District Number 1. My name is Kels Valenzuela Delamarter. My pronouns are she, her. And today I have with us Calgary's dream angel Cowboy as our guest, the one and only Robert Adam, who blends their limitless imagination with stories of living, placing top 3 in Sirius XM's Top of the Country competition and amassing over 800,000 global catalog streams in under a year. Robert is a force to be reckoned with. His artistry was born of the country, a little west of Bonnyville, and Robert is known for their angelic, inviting presence and breaking barriers between generations. Welcome to the show, Diva.
Oh my God. Thank you, Angel. How's it going?
I am so good to be here in this space with you. And this outfit, I am eating. Devour.
But look at your outfit.
I can't breathe in this outfit.
It's very punk rock western.
Thank you. I mean, how do we like the tie? Is the
I
tie
like the
okay?
tie. It's giving me Avril Lavigne energy, and I
exactly
love Avril Lavigne.
I mean, I think Avril Lavigne and that whole like skater boy era.
Oh my God.
Quintessential to my gender as a youth.
I
Come on.
literally just went to her concert like a couple weeks
No, you
ago.
did not.
I did.
And you didn't invite me?
I'm sorry.
Fake friend.
I'm sorry.
Fake
I'm so sorry. But it was
friend.
everything. I just want you to know Avril Lavigne still is doing it and sounds so good.
And not aging. I feel like there's that whole
No.
conspiracy theory about her,
The
but
clone
that's a
theory.
different podcast.
Different podcast.
Oh my God. But it is so nice to see you.
Yeah, it's literally been, I mean, I saw you this summer.
Yes,
but
over the
to find,
FaceTime.
I feel like we've been talking about doing this interview for quite a while, but we're actually doing it.
Now we're doing it.
For realsies.
Live HD. No pressure, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No pressure.
Well, I mean, it's so fun because not only like have we had this connection over the summer that we're talking about, but this is a fun little episode because we're both from the same little small town called Bonnyville, Alberta, and have known each other for a minute.
For a minute. Like we're talking decades.
Decades. I mean, over the summer, I was like, I feel like I've watched you do music my whole life.
Decades,
and here you
though.
are.
This is making me feel really old. I shouldn't have said decades. Did I just
Decades.
out us like that?
A little bit. But you know, we're still glowing. Everything is still perky.
Yeah, we're still
good.
looking cute.
Oh my
so.
God. Well, thank you for being here in the space with me. And you know what? We start off episodes with a fun little segment called Quickfire Queer.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Quickfire Queer is 5 rapid-fire fruity questions
Okay.
with Robert having 5 seconds to answer.
Okay,
Shall we do it?
let's do it.
Okay. What is your favorite song from your new album?
Oh my God. My favorite song from my new album coming out October 2025 is Autumn Time.
Autumn Time. Okay. It's funny doing Quickfire Queer because I feel like the last 2 guests have gone over, so I gotta be strict.
Okay.
Who is your ultimate musical inspiration?
Oh my God. I'd have to say Casey Musgraves and Dolly Parton.
Boom, easy. What Alberta town or city has the best audiences?
Oh, Calgary. I mean, I'm a bit biased.
Mm-hmm. Who throws the best pride in Alberta?
Lethbridge. Yo, playing Lethbridge was my favorite gig. One of my favorite gigs this summer.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that later. 'Cause
Yeah.
You slayed.
Oh,
It's
stop
so
it.
good.
Stop it.
But this is my favorite one for this round. What is the queerest thing about Bonnyville, Alberta?
Nothing. Me and Kelsey. Literally us.
That's so funny. Literally in my notes, I was like, Diva, is it us?
It is
It might
us.
be.
It is us.
I think it might be us.
It is us.
My
like, no
alternate-
shade, all tea.
I think my alternate answer is like, because again, formative to our high school experience,
Yeah.
the BCHS drama department.
Oh my
Shut
God.
up.
Miss Baker, Miss
Mrs.
Reed.
Baker, if you're
you know
watching.
what? If you're watching this, we love you and still love you.
Hi.
Thank you for supporting us even before we knew.
Yeah,
you
even
know?
before the haircut.
Yeah.
Girl.
The hair growth or the haircut.
Only two options.
Yeah.
Only two options. Oh my God. Well, that's your quick fire queer, honey. We were saying earlier how we know each other, Bonnyville. Like, I remember coming to your house when we were young and like literally playing Wii in your parents' basement
Oh
with
my
your sister
gosh.
Heather. And like,
Yes.
did you ever think that 10, 15 years later, we'd be here on this gay podcast?
To be honest, no.
No, I don't think I thought about it either.
No. I remember
Yeah.
you were like showing me some like martial arts moves. Were you in karate?
Yeah, I
Do you study
was.
karate?
I made it to in a different
were-
life.
You were actually like really high up, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. What belt did you get to?
I was like brown belt, and
Oh
I
my
was about to go
gosh.
for my red belt, which I think, if I remember, was like junior black belt because I was under.
No, that's
18.
like a high rank.
It was kind of slay.
I know the martial arts world. I want to be in a martial arts movie one day. That's a goal of mine.
I would eat that up in a heartbeat.
Like-
what would you do?
Oh, picture this with me.
Paint it.
Usually, like, femme presenting men are like painted as the joke.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would actually love to be like a very fashionable, elegant, like femme fatale.
Assassin.
Like sitting, drinking like a whiskey neat
Mhm.
in the corner of a
Uh-huh.
like fancy hotel. Like this is like John Wick 6
007.
by the time I get there.
Yes. Yes.
Very that. And I'm just like an assassin. I don't really say much. I'm like the
Mhm.
strong silent type. And I just like intense fight choreo because I'm a fight choreography nerd. That means no tight shots.
No tight shots.
It is all wide shots. So you can see everything
I'm
we're
learning.
doing. I would have the movie company pay me so much money to train for years for it, but I would totally do it.
Robert, you have this down to a script.
No,
like you've
I-
spent time thinking about this.
I fantasize about a lot,
I'm
but this is the
obsessed.
thing I fantasize about the most.
I feel like when we're in Bonnyville with nothing to do but fantasize,
You think
it makes sense.
And how bad did I want to be a Jedi? You have no idea.
I had no idea.
Like, come on.
I mean, why was I doing martial arts so intensely in
Yeah,
Bonnyville?
why
What
were you?
else?
It's
What
to do
else?
a movie now with me.
Done. Signed.
John Wick 6.
John Wick 6. We need to come up with like a more queer title for it.
We
but
do.
that's a different episode.
Janie.
Jane.
Can we say that on the podcast?
I mean, we got like 3 bleeps from TELUS, and I think in 5 minutes we've used all of them. But I'm here for it. I'm here.
Okay, good.
Be like, subscribe to Patreon for the
yeah,
extended
subscribe
version.
to the OnlyFans for the.
Oh my God. But we're talking about Bonnyville and all these sorts of things. How wild to sit next to you now with this like budding career in country music taking off in such a big way.
Oh my gosh, that's actually crazy to think about it.
It's so crazy because again, I see the Wii and you helping me solve a Zelda problem,
Yes.
like a puzzle.
Yes.
We're
Or playing High School Musical Just Dance.
Yes.
Here we are now.
I mean, we were eating from a young age.
We
Come
were.
on.
We were trained right.
Yes.
That's classical
100%.
music.
I think so.
High School Musical
That's
is classical
biblical,
music.
Actually.
It's canon.
But you were just doing that competition with Sirius
Mhm.
XM, where you were a recent finalist in the top of country talent competition across Canada.
Mhm.
But reflecting on I was actually thinking about this episode. I watched that City News interview you did in
Mhm.
Toronto.
Mhm.
So cool. And you said a quote that I have to share with our audience because it was
Please.
too good. You said, "Me from Bonnyville with my butterfly clips in my hair, BB cream, and a prayer."
Yup.
Diva. Come on.
I did say that.
I was like, what is this visual painting of my experience coming out of your
I
mouth?
literally just wore those butterfly clips yesterday too. I should have wore them today,
I was kind
actually.
of hoping you would.
Wow, I'm
But you
so
know
sorry.
what?
I dropped the ball
It's
on that.
forgiveness.
I
It's
dropped the clip on
forgiveness.
that.
How does that feel to go from such a small 5,000 population town, totally different life, to talking about it with BB cream and butterfly clips?
I mean, I feel like it's so healing to look back and realize that the person I am today would have been so pushed down, was pushed down, but the fact that I was able to speak to such a large scale Like the fact that I was able to go on such a large scale, wide reach national television show and also be a part of the Sirius XM competition, which is traditionally a very commercial, like run of the mill, like we want country artists that look like this and sound like this. No
Cookie
shade.
Cutter, blue jean, perhaps a little bit, red soul.
I mean, I don't want to shade.
You didn't say
but
it, I did.
I just want to, like, a person like me doesn't usually appear in competitions like that. And it was a real special privilege to be a part of that competition. I feel like they treated me extraordinarily well and offered me like a world of networking opportunities. And they really hooked a sister up in so many ways. They gave me a free guitar. Shout out PRS Guitars. Thank you. And I don't know, it was very much like a family. The Sirius XM people took really good care of us, but I felt like I proved to a lot of people that queer people have something to say from the country.
Yes.
And we're not just a joke. Like, I can write the music, I can sing the music, I can perform the music, I can talk about the music. Any day of the week, catch me. Like, I can interview well. So I just feel like I proved to the industry that I'm not just like an angle or like a joke or a novelty.
Or a trend, right?
Exactly. Like, I actually lived the life that I sing about. And I actually like lived the life that most of the straight male country singers or female country singers, like, I lived their life too. Like, I've done it. The lyrics aren't lies. Like, so it just was a really special experience. It was a very affirming experience for me to be a part of that. And although I didn't win, like, I still feel like I gained so much from that program and connected with like new audience members all across North America that I wouldn't have gotten to be able to share in their lives before that.
Goosebumps hearing you talk about that.
It's special. Yeah. And like, the title helps. It definitely upped my booking fee for sure. Thank you, Sirius XM.
We got to take what we can get.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, you talking about living the life. Again, I keep thinking about this little small town and how like some of my earliest memories of you are literally like music and playing piano.
Playing in the church.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
Bonnyville Baptist Church.
To the left or whatever on the side. I'm like, there's Rocky Mountain Rob. She's not there yet, but she's coming.
Not there yet. Like with the family worship group.
Oh my God.
Me, Heather, my dad, and my mom.
Yeah, that's so wild. Because yes, Heather is also a musician here in Calgary.
Yeah.
It runs in the family.
Do you ever like have moments where you could fully sing all the lyrics to some of the worship songs we used to sing to? Like, I think if someone actually, I don't mean to trigger anybody here.
You
Like,
hear the 3-part harmony.
Literally, like I think I could walk on stage and do a whole worship set still. Like, it is so ingrained.
And like, you can even just, this is such a tangent, this like little biblical moment. But you can even remember the way, like, just bring it all to God.
Oh my God.
Lay it down.
The spiritualism.
Oh God. But you know what? Maybe that's where our flair for theater comes from.
Church is theater.
From a young age. Oh my God. But, you know, again, the church, the theater of it all. Let's really take it back to that 5,000 population town for a second that you and I came from. And maybe let's have a fun spin on it. So what are some of these things about us today that despite moving away are maybe iconically and quintessentially Bonnyville?
Swish LA still feels special to me.
Okay, I tell this to everybody, like driving to Cold Lake to go to Boston Pizza.
Literally.
To celebrate every occasion.
Grad, wedding, birthday, graduation,
anything.
Like baptism, like...
Yeah, Boston Pizzas has seen us through so many life events.
Literally.
And so many life events of rural Albertans.
No city people will ever understand that. They will also, like, they'll never understand also driving to Edmonton to get the Swiss Chalet, because that was like a high tier treat.
Oh my God. And like driving to Edmonton, but from Bonnyville, it's like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And then being like, Slay, I'm just going to do it again on the way back in one day. Like
the day trips
hours?
to Edmonton, I would never.
I can't.
I would never do that.
I can't.
I'm getting so heated. I just bumped my mic.
It's real. It's so
real.
Passionate. I'm just thinking about like sitting in my parents' Dodge Windstar on the way to Edmonton.
Did it have a DVD player in the back?
No, we had to have the portable ones that you like,
my
which were so slay, honestly, as a kid.
They were. And you put stickers all over them.
Duh, obviously.
This is a millennial type.
What was that about decades that you said earlier? You keep that over there.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
You're probably on the cusp of Gen Z though, because my sister's on the cusp of being a Gen Z.
We're that funky like zillennial.
Zillennial, you're
even
definitely
in that phrase there, that sentence, zillennial.
Yeah.
It's like I think flagging something.
Yeah,
about
it's horrifying.
Me. Yeah, I think we were just talking about those last like Bonnyville-isms.
Mhm.
Mine is that to this day, I'm at a restaurant. I'm having a meal with a friend, with a bestie. We're about to like maybe gossip a little bit, chismosa, as us Filipinos say.
Mhm.
You do that and look around.
You have to.
And make sure that whatever, is not in the building. Or like whoever's boyfriend or family.
At the Sobeys, at the Real Canadian Wholesale
at the
Club.
7-Eleven across
You
from high
cannot
school.
talk blank. You
No, no.
can't talk unless blank, because I don't want to like get moderated
Exactly.
here. You have to make sure that the person you're talking about is not there. But let me tell you something about small towns.
I'm ready.
Small town people love to talk.
Oh my God, because there's nothing else to do.
It is a whole art form in small towns.
Mhm.
And what I find funny about small towns is the embellishments of the
Yes.
stories as they travel.
They
It
are
starts
like-
off as one thing, and by the time it reaches the like sixth person in a small town, the story has blown up to be like ridiculously dramatic.
Like the extended edition of The Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
like, come on. She's got a thematic.
the whole 3-pack DVD box set. Like we're going to Moria and
my God.
back.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
I feel like living in Bonnyville. There's moments I loved, but it was a little Moria and back.
It was very Helms
little.
Deep at times.
A little bit helps.
And all I wanted to do was just frolic in Mirkwood.
Yep.
Which is what I'm doing now.
Now what you're doing.
Galadriel's
100%.
brother.
I mean, she's glowing.
Rings of Power. If you need an elf, call me.
Call Robert
Yes,
right over there.
call me.
My goodness. But still like we're making fun of it. And like, I think even that being said, there are aspects of our lives in Bonnyville that we still carry with us today.
Of course.
Like, I for sure think it gave me a healthy dose of perspective
Yeah.
in terms of what my life could be like
Yeah.
and like a deep gratitude for
Yeah.
everything that I have today. Would you say the same? Yeah.
Yeah, I actually would extend that even further too. And I really feel like my relationship to the land is a big part. I feel like more and more as we open up our ears to what our First Nations and Indigenous folks
Yes.
say about our relationship to the land, that's something we all need to have to care for it. But I feel like when you grow up in a rural space, there is a bit more of you that wants to protect that like land and cherish that land, especially when it comes to our forests and our wildlife. I feel like it has always given me a passion to really talk about conservation and like, protect our natural resources, not put coal mines in the Rocky Mountains and make the water
Speak on
disgusting
it.
and brown. But I feel like it's that, but also I feel like because I grew up in a small town, there's lots of moments of silence that a lot of people don't grow up with. And I feel like there's a sacred space that I was able to always go to in small towns because I needed to escape somehow.
Yeah.
And it gave me appreciation for going out and being in nature and having these sacred silent moments that I feel like have given me a lot of groundedness and like healing as myself as a person. And still to this day, that is something that always grounds me and always puts me back to earth, is just a walk in the park. Even though that I live in
totally.
the city now, I can go to a natural space and like really find that grounding, whatever I'm going through. Definitely.
You're being so like deep and profound about it. And I'm like, I hear you, but it's also ruined me for suburbia. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, bleep blank. I hate being like stuck around all these houses and not having the open spaces that we grew up with. Like we never thought about it in that way, but we were so lucky for it in many ways. And while it sucked having to drive 3.5 hours there and back to Edmonton, like there's something to this day, like you're saying, where I so value that proximity to nature. And I feel like for me, an additional level in moving is now like being in Treaty 7 territory and so like in Blackfoot territory and forming relationships with like community and friends and Niitsitapi folks. Like they have just taught me so much more of a deeper level of that connection to nature and protecting the land.
I mean, they knew it first. They knew it
100%.
before anyone else did, honestly. And like, it's in our benefit to listen.
Yes.
I mean, it's in everyone's benefit, to be honest.
100%.
But yeah, I totally hear that. I also have come to terms with the fact that space equals privilege.
How do you mean?
I feel like so many other countries in the world don't have the space like we do in Canada.
Oh,
and in
yes.
rural, like, so like even just having a backyard or like an acreage or whatever, there's
population density.
right? There's
Yeah.
so many places in the world where that just isn't really like a thing to the average, like lower to mid income household.
Mm-hmm.
So like growing up is like, we got a special, like as much as there was probably traumatic things, at least we had like a special space,
Mm-hmm.
like of actual like physical space that
Yeah.
many people across the world don't really get.
Yeah.
You
Well, it's
know?
even wild. Like, I had cousins in Edmonton who would come and visit us on like my parents' acreage and
Yeah.
etc. And they would be little kids crying to their parents in the city about the size of their backyard
Yeah.
compared to where we were.
Yeah.
Like, again, so lucky to
Yeah.
be able to like grow up and play and explore,
Yeah.
even if everything else or different aspects of being in that environment weren't the kindest to
Yeah.
us.
100%.
And you know, on that note, I feel like for me, especially leaving Bonnyville is really what empowered me to like
Mhm.
come out, for example, and like
Mhm.
find my queerness, embrace my
Mhm.
identity. I know that you also came out after leaving, but I
Well,
don't know your story.
actually,
There's more tea. Okay?
yeah, I came out in my 4th year of Bible college at Briarcrest College and Seminary while I was still going to school there.
I was
She's
gonna
bold.
say,
She
what-
is bold.
My immediate thought was like, what's it like to be God's favorite? But then I went, wait, hold on.
Wait.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. So I came
Wow.
out then, and then I moved back to Bonnyville after that, after coming out.
What is this lore? I had no
Because I
idea.
wanted to save money to move to Toronto.
This I did know because you went there for a couple of years.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. So I had lived with my parents, and they, on the surface, said they were okay.
Okay. This is when you
With-
came back.
Mhm,
Okay.
with me being gay, but they really weren't okay with it and would say different things. I mean, I love my parents now. My parents have really come a long way and have really
Yeah.
done a lot of work, and I really love them. This is just reflection on the back. No
Before.
hate to Shane and Arlene,
Mhm.
but they were saying things like, "Oh, if we catch Rob like going on a date, like we're gonna kick him out," and like.
Wow.
But you know what? My sister always had my back.
Of course she did.
Heather always had my
You
back,
two have been
but
so close for
Yeah.
forever.
yeah, so yeah, going back was interesting. And I even remember I was doing worship at Bonnyville Baptist Church still at the time. And then I finally told the pastor, I was like, look, like, because
Like
they,
current pastor?
no, I think Ben is gone now, but
Oh.
he literally, I remember being there and they're like, would love to offer a position of being like an actual like worship leader, like
Okay.
not just someone who plays, but an actual like leader. And then I was like, yeah, that's great. But like, you need to know, like, I'm actually a queer person. I don't think it's
Okay.
wrong. And at the time I still was a quotation Christian.
Right.
And they're like, oh, sorry, you can't actually play worship at all.
Oh my god.
So then I couldn't play music in church at all.
Which was like such a love for you. I
It
remember.
was.
Yeah.
But like looking back, it's like it just allowed me to do music that wasn't Christian, which is
Which was it was needed. Like
it was needed.
here we are now in a whole
Here we
different
are
character
now.
arc.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, you know, our journeys definitely can shape and mold our paths for sure. But
Yeah.
you know, I also had some friends that like, you know, I had my friend Bethany Olson. Shout out to Bethany Olson. Always had my back. My sister had my back. So like the thing about small towns is people can be really awful, but there are always a few gems that are
Amazing
so
people.
good because the bonds you make with people in small towns are incredibly strong.
Mhm.
Like they have to be strong because there has to be some sort of like glue that holds us all together. So the people that got you really got you in small
Yeah.
towns.
Well, I mean, I even like, if I can say it on a personal note, I feel that with you a little bit. Because, like, you know, without getting too deep, throughout the years, even if we didn't see each other, like, it's been probably a decade since I saw you
Yeah.
in person. If I was going through something, you know, when I was still reconciling with my faith journey or how I identified all those things, I would send you a message and you always took the time to like respond to me because you understood growing up in the same church, the same
Yeah.
place. Like, I just feel like even if we weren't always like talking then, that experience is what's connected us in this way today. I'm really grateful for it.
It's like such a niche experience too that
Oh my God, yeah.
is difficult to
a limited
explain.
edition
A limited
release
edition.
that only like 3 of us got.
The deluxe edition of the vinyl
Yeah.
of growing up Christian in a small town.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you also had the added, you know, the added being a Filipino.
And not understanding
person.
it when I
Yeah.
was there. You know,
Right.
like I feel when I was growing up, it was like, and I've said this on the show before, like I knew my family was Filipino, but was so disconnected from how I viewed myself and didn't
Mm-hmm.
understand so many of the experiences I had in the world that were affected by my race and ethnicity. It was just like a huge unlearning in so many areas, moving away.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. But
Mhm.
here you are.
But here I am.
Shining.
Glowing with my Sailor Moon highlight. People can do hard things.
The glitter.
The
Keep
glitter.
smiling. Keep shining.
I will, just for you, just for you. But, you know, kind of like thinking about Bonnyville and maybe moving a bit away from it in our
Mhm.
conversation today to the next phase of the interview.
Mhm.
If you could summarize small town queer life from just your own experience, because I know that's a big ask, what would you say?
This isn't going to be very
I'm
angelic
ready.
of me.
I'm ready.
Whenever I think about Bonnyville, I think of a time when I was sneaking out
I'm on the edge of my seat.
to meet boys in Farmers Field.
No, you were not.
Is bad. Like, because that's the only place you can go on dates.
Why did everyone else get to have fun in a small town but me?
It wasn't fun though. The boys were
Okay.
lame.
Yeah, well,
except
they were
for
in a
one.
field.
And there was except for one, Corbin. I remember Corbin.
Name drop.
Corbin was this sweet guy who was like a tree planter.
Okay.
And he was actually the sweetest person I've ever
Was
met.
he like Bonnyville local or transient?
He actually lived in Vermilion.
Oh my.
He was going to Lakeland College.
Lakeland special right here.
Yeah. Local queerness also, shout out to I remember.
He was in my class.
God bless.
Oh my God.
But
Lucky when Rob is laying it on the floor tonight.
I remember he was working at
Yeah.
and
He was in my class, Diva.
he was also in Heather's too.
Uh-huh.
And I just remember wow. I just remember being at and me and Bethany just like basically being like, oh my God, he is like literally so beautiful and so nice.
Oh my God. For those of you that are listening to the podcast and not watching it, my face absolutely gooped.
I'm literally
Absolutely.
blushing right now. I never talk about things like this, but that's kind of queer in a small town. I think it's much different than it used to be because we're talking, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like, and my parents couldn't know that I was like dating boys or else I wouldn't have a place to live.
Right.
And also a lot of the boys that at the time that I was meeting up with, they also didn't want to be known as well, which actually looking back, it's low-key Danger Bay.
Low-key Danger Bay.
Danger
Bonnyville?
Bay. Well, I mean, meeting up with people in secret is actually like kind of scary because you can't meet in
Yeah.
public, right?
And you know what? I feel like I've heard about this. I not so much experienced it myself, but like I hear about that a lot for culture with gay men. Like
Yes.
for some reason.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think when I like moved away from Bonnyville, I didn't really do that as much because actually when I lived in Toronto, there was a serial killer picking off gay men. So I stopped.
I'm glad you stopped.
Yeah, I
I'm
was
glad
like,
you had foresight.
I was like, you know what? I'm okay. The right
Yeah.
person will just come into my life.
Like Tinder is the thing.
Yeah,
Tinder is cool.
yeah. Meeting people in public, awesome.
Uh-huh.
But I think more people can do that now, but they didn't used to be able to.
That is so wild.
Yeah.
Also, it's not lost on me that I went, what is your like small town queer experience for describing it? And you were like,
He would love that. I
was like-
still talk to every now and then,
that's so
but
funny.
I think he's like really happy with like I think with like a cute little partner
I've
of his.
heard rumors a little bit, but like that is a severe, like what a amazing aura that individual has
I
to make it into this
know.
podcast.
Such an
later.
absolute icon who's such a sweetheart.
He was
but
very kind too.
one of my
Yeah.
first crushes for sure.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This is like the insider scoop.
This is the This is like old, like young Rob, just young. We're talking like 21,
Danger
22
Bay.
in Danger Bay,
In a field.
in a field,
That's so good.
in
Oh
my
God.
beater of a Ford Fusion car.
This is why you have the authenticity to write the music that you do today.
Yes, no one
Yes.
can tell me. I mean, I don't even think people realize when they listen to the lyrics what I'm talking about. Like, you know,
Is that kind of fun for you? A little
it is.
mischievous?
It is very mischievous. Like, I have a song called Denim on Denim.
Yes.
It's not actually about denim on denim. It's about other things on other things.
You don't have to
You
explain
know?
it to me. I got it. I heard that and I went, denim on denim.
Yeah, denim on denim.
My gosh. But music, denim on denim, we're talking about it. You really lately, like your career has been going for a little while, but lately I feel like it's kicked off not just because of the amazing music you're creating, but seeing your authenticity and queerness fully take center stage. How did you maybe get to this point of being so confident and taking up that space with your identity in music? And I really am curious about how audiences and the industry are responding.
I feel like it wasn't necessarily a choice. It just was like I've always felt like I've had this like voice or like light inside myself that has told me what I needed to be and when I needed to be it. Like,
I love that.
I feel like no one ever told me like you need to be more of yourself. I just always have felt like, even when I was growing up, even when it just came to singing, everyone's like, I had that vocal disorder for such a long period of time. Yes. Where voice was so high. It didn't change till I was like 21 and my voice didn't work properly. But something inside me kept telling me, no, you're going to be a really good singer someday. Yeah. And now I'm not going to lie. I think people think I'm quite a good vocalist.
I would agree.
But it also was the same thing of like being myself. I was 4th year at Bible college, probably not the most convenient time to come out. But one day I just woke up and like, that intuition in myself is like, it's time, baby. Yeah. And even with kind of my current trajectory of like, I feel like I present and I feel very like non-binary these days. And I feel like I love carrying aspects of both genders, but it kind of was another movement where it's just like, kind of like, I don't really care to please other people. This is just how I feel on the inside and I just do it. But I also feel like that's paired with the more healing you do as a person, the more comfortable you feel expressing yourself and doing what you're supposed to actually be doing. So I feel like all of this trajectory has matched up with healing that I've like done with myself and like journeys of self-love that I've been on, which then equals like another piece of myself I get to take back.
Yes. Yeah. And I feel like, would you agree? Because for me, I feel like time as well has been like the biggest building block for strength. And like,
100%.
Because we both maybe, without getting it too deep, really, really heavy, experienced some rejection from people that we loved, right?
Unrequited love, perhaps.
Yes, when we first were figuring ourselves out. Yeah. Doing this whole crazy thing called life, let alone figuring out your queerness. Yeah. And so now, like, I look at the strength that I have that came from those experiences of heartbreak or rejection, and I'm just grateful for all of it.
I completely agree. It's like there's no guidebook.
No.
For anyone.
It'd be easy if there was.
But there's especially no guidebook for people who are gender diverse or, diverse in general to grow up in a town that's small and may not have the like widespread acceptance of different types of people and culture, right? There's no guidebook for that.
No.
But I think that's what makes it beautiful because there's this like kind of, like I keep on saying sacred. I think that's the buzzword of the day. The sacred path that we all get to go on that is decided by ourselves and no one else. Because no one can really tell you how to do that. Yeah. It's like a lot of Studio Ghibli movies have that theme.
I'm ready. Go into it. Explain it to me.
If you notice every Studio Ghibli movie, the main character always has to do the most important part of their movie by themselves. They have people to help them get there, but there's always a point in those movies where they actually have to do it themselves. They have to make a decision all by themselves. And I think that as humans, we get scared to do that. But when it comes down to it, the choices that we make to like fully expand ourselves as people always come when we are completely alone. And it doesn't have to be a scary thing, and it doesn't have to be like a horrible thing. It can actually be a space where you can change your whole life. Like the power we have within ourselves is way more than we would think.
You know that meme from the Spider-Man, like Into the Spider-Verse movie recently?
Where they're like all pointing at each other.
Not that one, where it's like Peter Parker and then Miles Morales just like looking at him in awe, trying to be Peter Parker. Yeah. That's what I feel like my face is giving, listening to you explain this like Studio Ghibli analogy for life with wisdom and grace.
There's so much profound stuff.
Mhm.
You know, Sailor Moon, Studio Ghibli, so much anime. There's so much profound
Yes.
lessons we all can learn.
Yes, absolutely. And I just feel like that strength that you're talking about and like the strength of the individual, I'm so grateful for my queerness because I feel like it gave me that strength. Like
Mhm.
queer people are divergent. They go
Mhm.
against the norm. They challenge boundaries and
Mhm.
stereotypes and they live audaciously.
Mhm.
I don't know that I would have been able to achieve or experience a lot of the things that
Mhm.
I've done today if
Mhm.
I was straight. And
Yeah.
I'm happy with the way things turned out.
Like, there's a specific lens in which we like view the world and see the world because, you know, there's a unique journey we have had to be on, but it can be used as a superpower. I think a lot of things that like were a hindrance to us, we can like pivot and make it work for us and for the betterment of other people.
Making beauty out of those hardships. And I think like your music does that and your personhood really does that.
Thank
like
you.
I'm just having the best time chatting with
Oh,
you
thank you
today.
so much. Wow.
Yeah.
It's not just the Glossier blush that's making me blush.
You're welcome. Welcome to the show, the experience. You know, as one maybe last note for like talking about small town queer experiences, you and I are both really grateful, I think, for leaving. And while we have that reverence and respect for our time there, don't envision going back.
No.
But some people just love small town life, or maybe
Yes.
they can't leave. So maybe what would you say to folks living in rural communities today?
Oh, take up your space.
Yes.
If you don't want to leave, don't leave. Like even if you're a queer person, you have every right to live in a small town. You know, and I'm seeing a lot more queer people settle in small towns these days.
Isn't it interesting?
And I love it because queer people are a spectrum too with where they want to live. Like they don't, you know, I think if I got very rich and famous, I'd be living on a ranch somewhere, you know, with all my horsies.
What was it? Rocky Mountain Lodge?
Rocky Mountain Lodge.
Go stream that on Apple Music, Spotify.
Actually, don't listen to that. That's an old recording. It's a very young Rob singing. Listen to Whiskey on Your Words. Listen to Bailing Twine. Listen to Moonlight Magic.
Go for the new stuff.
Those are the high budge recordings.
But you could do the anthology look.
Yeah, okay, the anthology.
Season 1.
Yeah, I would just tell queer people to take up space and live where you want to live, and don't let anyone tell you where to exist and where not to exist. If you know you still feel comfortable in a small town, and if that's where your life takes place, like go for it, because you're also going to be an example to all the other small town queer kids just by being there. You know, because you know, there's queer farmers. Have you seen Farming for Love on TV?
No.
It's like this
I need to watch
whole
this?
reality show. My lesbian bandmates watch it.
Okay, so I need to watch it.
You
That's
need
the,
to watch it.
right
There's like
there.
queer couples on it that are
Okay.
like farmers.
Of course. Horticulture? Agriculture?
Yeah. So like the queers are doing the agriculture
They
now.
are.
And I love it.
They're
But
upholding
that's what I would say.
society.
Be yourself. Don't let anyone tell you who you need to be. And if you want to stay in the small town, like get it. If you want to leave and you feel like you need to leave because that light inside of you is telling you it's time to go, just do it. You won't regret it. It might be hard at first, but it'll probably work out to be better in the end.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, this last question that I have for you, it really follows quite nicely with that one there, because here you are again, like, I feel like you've just come so far and you've weathered so much and you're really, really strong and able to speak to that experience.
I'm glad it looks like that. I'm still a Cancer. I still cry all the time.
Crying a little bit. But the reason I say that is because, again, like it didn't start that way. So if you could say something to Robert back in Bonnyville as the dream angel cowboy that you are today, what would it be?
Oh my God. Pulling a
Words.
RuPaul.
Where's the picture?
What would you say to little Rob? Oh my God. I think I would just say to a younger version of myself, like, keep on singing, keep on writing, and know that there's going to be like a whole world of people out there that will really love hearing your art, but also a whole world of people that will just like love you for who you are. Play with dollies.
Yes.
You know, don't be embarrassed when you want to put makeup on your cousins. Don't be embarrassed when you want to put on little shows for your grandparents. And just know that although people tell you the only power ever comes from this jealous, toxic God. The power actually comes from within you. Because you're an angel, baby.
You're an angel. Future dream cowboy incoming.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining me in the space today. And I think you have one last final little treat for my audience.
Oh, yeah.
Something really special. A Queer in Alberta first, if I may.
I'm going to play a little song.
Oh my God. Oh my God. What song is it again?
It's called Angels Never Die.
Angels Never Die. Well, this is going to be a premiere exclusive release because this song's not even out yet. Is that right?
Not even out.
Divas. I hooked it up for you. I really did.
Y'all, Kelsey did.
Thank you. This is, what was it again?
Angels Never Die.
This is Angels Never Die by the one and only Robert Adam. Cool. Take it away.
Maddie didn't win the high school talent show. Crying that she sung flat on the final note. Ashley was a winner, but it sure wasn't her. When her agent flashed the hundo and the judges had his turn. No, Maddie's papa could not afford no singing lessons, so she practiced hard to Patsy's mouth presence. Late nights by a singer, sewing sequins to a skirt. At her mama's picture says, I'm gonna be just like her. Dreams give us wings to go on another day, and lifts us high above to see another way. 100 no's can lead to one big yes, and pack us in a diamond that shine brighter than the rest. So sweetheart, don't you cry, 'cause angels never die. Johnny missed making hockey triple A. Nerves cramped up and slap shot, and the scouts of their minds made. Skates back to the box, overcome by surprise. That a big strong man like him would have to hide his teary eyes. His sister Becky burst right into that locker and strut her way past all the naked blushing moons. Plants her feet right in front of Johnny, says, don't you even dare think that you won't make it when you try again next year. Dreams give us wings to go on another day, and lifts us high above to see another way. 100 no's can lead to one big yes, and back is in a diamond that shine brighter than the rest. So sweetheart, don't you cry, 'cause angels never die. Whether you make it to the goalpost or end up somewhere else, your dreams ain't a fleeting thing that you quickly felt. They'll take you to the right place where you need to be. 'Cause God don't make no mistakes when giving darlings dreams. Dreams give us wings to go on another day, and lifts us high above to see another way. 100 no's can lead to one big yes, and pack us in a diamond that shine brighter than the rest. So sweetheart, don't you cry, 'cause angels never die.
Okay, as a last question, Robert, what is your favorite thing about being queer in Alberta?
Well, my favorite thing.
G rating. Okay. Yeah.
I would have to say my favorite thing about being queer in Alberta is how underestimated we are, and how like so many people don't assume that such powerful queer folk exist here.
Speak on it. You definitely want to make sure you're following along with Robert and all of the amazing projects he's doing. And
You
where
do.
can the people go to follow along?
All my handles on social media are Robert Adam Music. You probably just want to focus on Instagram because I'm really bad at TikTok.
We did have a debrief over this.
I date myself on TikTok. My Gen Z friends tell me I'm way too slow on my transitions. So just follow me on Instagram. There's lots of good content there. But
Very
you can
good.
also,
confirm.
thank you. You can also stream all my music on Amazon, Spotify, Apple Music. Am I allowed to say that on this podcast?
Yes, you can. Yep.
Any major streaming platform. Give love to Amazon, though. They've been really showing me a lot of love lately. So, but I mean, no shade if you want to stream somewhere else.
Well, thank you again. Thank you. And we'll see you next time on Queer in Alberta. Bye.
Mwah.
Yay.
Outro done.
Coming up next on Queer in Alberta.
You know, even my dad, my dad saw episode 4, or when he did see episode 4, which is like my meltdown episode.
Yeah,
you know,
iconic.
He was like, oh, you just went there to fight.